Hello friends, thank you so much for joining me. I decided to pick up one of the new Hourglass face palettes for this season and it's here. I got the owl design. Now the owl is exclusive to Hourglass's own website. You can customize any of the palettes to have this top. And I will say the artwork on all of these different palettes does look really pretty, but when it comes right down to it, I like the owl best. So the interior of the palette that I chose is the snake palette. Okay, so that probably is what appears to be the deepest one in terms of the color spread. It looks like it has a lot of warmth in it. I'm not saying any of these palettes absolutely couldn't work for one person or another, but as you look at the different ones, this one just seems to have a bit more richness in it. And the way it comes, it has the snakes on the lid, but because I ordered through Hourglass's website, I could customize it to this. This is an online exclusive thing. But yeah, there's 3 different color options, and I wanted to talk you through why I chose this one, and then I'm basically going to center my whole look around this. This came in yesterday, so this is going to be my first time playing with it today. I'm going to see how I like it. I'm going to wear all these products on the face. I'll probably wear them on the eyes as well. But I was looking at the 3 different options, and I really did like the look of the jellyfish one. Let's call that the lightest one. It has 2 finishing powders in it. So they're giving you diffused light and ethereal light. I already own both of those. I also already have diffused heat, which is one of the blushes that's in there. So half that palette I already have in individual full-size products. So I really had a hard time making that feel worthwhile, even though I think it's a nice combination of products. And if you're really intrigued by the ambient lighting powders, like diffused light and ethereal light, I love them both. Ethereal light is even brighter, even more stepped up. And if you think that that's the element of Hourglass's line that you'd really like to experiment with most, you're getting 2 of those in this palette, and with all the others, you're getting just like 1 finishing powder. But then it does have the new Lunar Bronze bronzer, the new Rose Fusion blush, and the new Opal Strobe Light highlighting powder. So that's the jellyfish, and already owning half of it, I felt like, okay, that's not for me. Then the leopard palette. This is probably my second favorite top. I think it looks really pretty with kind of the gold and the black. In this one, you're getting dim light as your 1 setting powder, which I already have dim light in another palette. I also already have mood exposure, which is one of the blushes. And additionally, the bronzer in that one, Lustrous Bronze Light, that was in last year's Elephant palette too. So again, we're in a situation where 3 of the 6 shades I already have. You're getting Celestial Strobe Light as the highlighter. You're getting Ethereal Flush as a new blush. That's the only thing labeled new in this one, is that Ethereal Flush blush, and then there's an Iridescent Rose blush. I still think it's a good looking palette, and I think it looks very well balanced. I like that all the blushes have a really different look. I feel like that would be a totally workable highlighter. I know dim light is a good finishing powder, and I like Lustrous Bronze Light as a bronzer too. So it's not really me disliking the contents, it's just me already having half of them. And just so you know, if you already have this one called Sculpture, it's got that mirrored finish and kind of like some angular parts here on the outside. This one contains mood exposure and dim light. So that's where 2 of those shades are coming from for me. And then, like I said, the Lustrous Bronze Light came from last year's Elephant. Really fun to talk about these. Last year's Elephant, the jellyfish, blah, blah, blah. So then finally we get to the snake option, where I'm seeing a lot of richness. I'm seeing 5 shades labeled new in this one. And then I don't believe I've ever had Radiant Light, which is the finishing powder. And I thought, well, that looks light enough to work on me. And having it here in person, I can see, like, I think that's going to be totally workable all over my face. Coral Haze Blush. You're getting Infinite Strobe Light Strobe Powder. I like that the bronzer seemed deeper. It actually seems a little bit cool as well. This is Solar Bronze Bronzer, Mystic Flush Blush, and Sunbeam Blush. These really got me, these blushes. I thought, gosh, it looks like there's a bit more richness in this one, and it just felt like something different compared to the palettes that they've put out in recent years, which I've pretty much kept up with all of them. And I just felt like the first 2, the jellyfish, and especially the leopard one, it really just had the look of a lot of these different palettes we've seen again and again. The jellyfish seemed a little different to me because it's actually giving you 2 of those finishing powders. And as I look between both the jellyfish and the leopard, I feel like both could be very workable for lighter skin. And this one, I'm not saying it couldn't work, but it's just a little bit richer with its colors. And I think it still has a really nice light brightening highlight. And I think Radiant Light is the finishing powder. I believe we're going to find that this is very workable on my skin tone. So yeah, that's the look. lowdown. Make your decisions carefully because these aren't cheap palettes. I mean, this is an $80 palette, right? No, it's a $90 palette. Okay, so make your decisions very carefully. I think I will go ahead and just like take you along with me for all the face stuff that I'm doing. I'm gonna pop on some of this primer today. This has been working really well for me. This is the Ordinary High Adherence Silicone Primer. It says high adherence, blurring, surface smoother, and primer, and it does work really well for me. I do feel like of any of these three palettes, this one maybe has the most potential to do the most on the eyes as well, if you're gonna multitask it. Then for my foundation, I'm gonna use the Ambient Soft Glow foundation from Hourglass. I have been enjoying this one a lot lately. It's been wearing really well on my skin. I wear the shade 5 in this, nearly a full pump, and dab it around. It looks like it's gonna be a little light and yellow when I first start putting it on, but it really seems to blend in effectively on my skin. So obviously I would love to hear in the comments section if you chose to pick up one of these palettes this year. What style did you choose? What interior and exterior? Look how nicely that blends in. It really feels like a full coverage. Strong, medium to full. It sort of depends on the blending method you choose. Sponge makes it always appear just a little bit lighter coverage, but I still really like it. For concealer today, I'm going to use my Makeup by Mario. This is the Surreal Skin Awakening Concealer, which I have in the shade 160. I have been liking this concealer. It's been doing well for me. Good shade. I feel like it really brightens me a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and blend this out with my sponge. As I've bounced around among some new concealers I've been trying, I feel like this one is my favorite of the new high-end concealers. I'm comparing it to the House Labs and I'm comparing it to the Tower 28, and I just feel like it has the most coverage. I think it keeps a pretty like fresh wear, stays looking true to the way I first put it on, and I just feel like it creates the most flawless look out of all those. I am going to use my Hourglass powder as well. This is the Veil Translucent Setting Powder, just a small size. And this is a nice powder that I don't talk about enough, I feel like. It's super fine and lightweight. I think it has a nice sort of blurring effect. I'm going to pick some of that up with my Hot Pink Triangle Powder Puff. What are you doing over there, Bisky? Always up to something. See, look how smooth and even everything looks with this. Love it. Now, the finishing powder that's in my little palette here, I probably wouldn't use that to like set my under eye area. This one right here, I feel like I'd more likely use that as an all over finishing powder, whereas the finishing powders that are in a couple of the other palettes, like especially the Jellyfish one, Diffused Light or definitely Ethereal Light, I would for sure take those up on the under eye area. So kind of think about what you need, what you like from a palette like this. I wouldn't have minded if the finishing powder was a little lighter in this one, so I could do that. Okay, now we dust away our excess. This powder leaves me looking very matte, by the way. And I wonder about going into the palette and just going ahead and going into this, what's it called, Radiant Light, and just taking it all over the rest of the skin. Just so you can really see what kind of finish this leaves, because my skin is overall, I'd say fairly matte right now. And you can see what that powder does on top. It's got, you know, like a slight glow. And it's working right into my skin tone, so I'm working with this shade right here. And Radiant Light was the shade that's been around before in this palette, the one shade. Put a little bit up here on top of the cheek. You know, in a pinch that probably could set the under eye. It's not that dark. But you see how the skin's got just the gentlest glow now with that on top?
I had a bad dream.
What was it about?
I fell in a big swamp and a crocodile bit me.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Glad it was just a dream, not real life. Look at my palette.
Ow! Hoot, ow!
Yes. How's your leg feeling?
Good.
Good. Back to norm? Okay, now we're going to go down to our bronzer here, which is Solar Bronze. I'm really excited for this. Feel like it seemed cooler and just a little bit deeper than the bronzers in the other palettes. And something I generally like about the Hourglass palettes is that they're hard to screw up. I feel like the shades aren't like off the wall with intensity and pigment in the sense that like, oh, you've just got to barely touch your brush into it, or like you're going to have a really loud result or a ton of fallout or something like that. Like, no, you can really just kind of feel free with it. And the way the finishes are in some cases ever so slightly luminous, it just really like works into your skin without a ton of additional blending. So I'm so far really liking Solar Bronze. Look at this. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh. Cat literally tipped over a mirror, a heavy one, and I caught it. For Pete's sake. Oh my gosh. 5:30 in the morning, and I see this mirror that is 15 feet away from me, and the cat has gotten behind it and it's starting to tip, and it's big and heavy, and I made it over there to catch it before it hit the ground. Blending that out, I adore the look of that. I've used a lot of Hourglass palettes, and I think it's safe to say that Solar Bronze is the most pronounced bronzer I've ever had in any of them. It has kind of a toasty look to it, a little bit of warmth. More than I thought it was going to have, because I believe I said I thought this was going to be kind of cool looking. But yeah, toastier than you might expect. I love the way it looks on the skin. The glow is so gentle, but just enough, you know, like just enough of a little satin thing going on there. Okay. We gotta move on. There are 3 super appealing blushes in here. This one looks like the glowiest. These 2, I wonder how similar they will actually be. Okay, actually fairly different. So the bottom one is what's on my pinky, and it's got a lot of like rich coral depth. This top one looks more like a classic peach. And then you come over to this one with all the shimmer, and it's just like extremely bronzy peachy shimmer. So I'm gonna start here with the top one, and this does have kind of a marbled look to it, but you're not seeing a lot of shimmer. It's just the softest sheen. And you're getting that pretty, what I would call a classic peach look on the cheeks. Really nice. What if we just dab, a little dab into that? And I feel like a little bit goes a long way with that bottom one because it's fairly soft and a good amount picks up on the brush. Richen it up just a little bit. Oh, it's pretty. Ooh, love it. Just dabbing, just a gentle tap in. Okay, a little bit deeper. And you know we're not gonna forget this one over here. Yes, I will triple up on blush if given the opportunity. I'm gonna get a little bit of this. This has the most lustrous finish to it. These 2 are a little more just gentle satin. Taking a little bit on top of the cheek. It really is meshing in color-wise so much with what's already there. And I'll probably have to wear this one alone sometime to get a real sense of how much color shows with it. But it did add a little glow on top of the cheek. Okay. Finally, we have our highlighter up here. Metallic Strobe Powder in Infinite Strobe Light. So I'm picking some of that up with my Real Technique setting brush. Oh, look at that. I'm so glad that it still looks really brightening even on my skin tone. Oh. That's stunning. Wow. Sometimes you're not sure how much it's actually going to be like in terms of the brightness level and just the reflectivity in that highlighter in these palettes, because sometimes they're softer than others, but oh, that's really fun. And whatever's left on my brush, I can take it up to the forehead. Complexion looks fresh. I've got all the blush pigment I could want out of this one. What I'm next gonna do, I'm gonna take a fresh brush here. This is just my e.l.f. highlighting brush. It kind of amounts to a nice all-purpose brush for the face. I'm gonna go back to my finishing powder here, and I'm just gonna like sort of take it all over everything, because I feel like these ambient lighting powders have a nice sort of smoothing effect. So once you get those different finishes from your highlighters and your blushes on, you take this on top and it's like, yes, everything's just meshing. nicely in together for a nice, even, smooth, radiant complexion. I dig it. I'm excited by this one. It's for sure like a richer color palette than any of the other ambient lighting palettes I've owned. All the others kind of seem to fall in line with the other two in terms of depth level, and you know, obviously I don't own those, but I can just tell by comparing my pictures. This one just has a nice amount of richness in it, and definitely some warmth as well. Like, you look at those blush shades, they are on the peachy end, not the cool pinky end, so I think it's important to know that. So I am going to go ahead and do my brows, and then we're gonna work this into an eye look. I just used my Estee Lauder little 3-in-1 brow product that I'm loving so much. I put on Milani eyeshadow primer, and then we're going to jump into this for a little eye look. I think this bronzer, Solar Bronze, is going to be absolutely perfect in the crease. So let's just do that with our Profusion crease brush. Yes. I've had so many different like eyeshadow things that I've been trying that I haven't done this with a face palette in a while, you know, multitasked it in this way. But I remember like being in the hospital having Bubba, and I had gotten one of these palettes, and like that was what I took. It was just so easy to use this lightly with a little like tinted moisturizer just to get my look together. I think it would have been the Ambient Lighting Sculpture one perhaps that I used at that time. So just getting that bronze nice and sheared out, so easy, looks so good. Let's see, I'm then gonna apply a little bit of this shimmery blush and just kind of pop that on outer part of the lid. Oh, so pretty and toasty. It's got a nice little gentle sheen. Oh, the fall vibes coming out of this palette. Love. All right, and then I would say just go over to your highlighter. Grab some of that, hit up the inner corner, inner part of the lid. Don't even think about messing with that mirror again, Rosie. She is wily. Okay. Boom. Simple, thrown together, but like doesn't look complete. Then I'm going to take a little bit of my bronzer also with my small pointed brush, because I feel like this is going to give just the perfect soft definition under the eye. Undetectable definition, you know? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, Solar Bronze. What do I love most in this palette? The bronzer, I really like that. The bronzer and the highlight just floored me. The blushes, like, I think I go in with an expectation that I'm gonna love the blushes most in these palettes. And I do love them a lot, but I think I was most surprised by how well I like this little duo. And it was nice to use Radiant Light, because I thought Radiant Light worked really well all over the skin also. Let's see, at this point, I'm gonna pop on some mascara, and then we'll come back for the lip, which I have an Hourglass thing I can use for that. Okay, friends, finished eye. I did some liquid liner. It's the brown liner pen from Too Faced, and just stayed real close to the lash line there, and then did mascara top and bottom. That's my Huda One Coat, and then Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water on the lower lashes. And then I'm pulling out one of these Phantom Volumizing Glossy Balms. These are a lot like the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip, M Cosmetics Lip Cushion, those products that kind of click up just beyond their packaging, and then you have a lot of product feeling like it's transferring down, like it's a lipstick form, but it takes the appearance of a gloss practically as it crosses the lips, because so much product, so much thickness and richness is laying down across the lips. So I'm wearing the shade Haze, and I know this one is being sold as part of a duo with a new color, I think, an exclusive shade called Crave as well. But yeah, this one's Haze. Let's put it on. You can see this really pretty, like, kind of rosiness, warm rose. They call this one Burnt Rosewood. Thought it would work well with the whole color scheme on the face. Super luxurious feel. If you like the Tarte Juicy Lips, I think this would be a line you'd enjoy exploring. Really like a thick, rich, ultra moisturizing feel on there. And as you can see, just worn as is without even a liner, any additional lipstick. It looks so pretty on. And there is a bit of a tingle that I feel after I put these on too. And they say it does plump for fuller looking lips. But yeah, friends, this is my look with my Hourglass stuff. Hourglass is a really interesting brand, particularly particularly with these palettes, because whenever I use one, I get this feeling of luxury, just a very rich, high-end feel, you know? But by the nature of these palettes, the way they are, they're super like low maintenance and easy. And if you use them all over the face, like you get a very low fuss look. Like I turned out this whole look really fast just because I was able to bounce around every face product I needed, you know, outside of my base stuff, and use all these as my face colors, and then double them up on the eyes too for a really cohesive look. And I feel like this shade called Haze also on the lips really ties everything together. So yeah, it's luxury, but it's in a very wearable, easy, practical, user-friendly kind of approach, you know? So I would love to hear what you think of your Hourglass palette, whether you've tried this interior, I guess the number 3 interior layout, or 2 or 1. I'd love to hear how you're enjoying them or not enjoying them, whatever. For me on this, I would say so far so good. I think the complexion looks amazing, and I know I kind of went hog wild layering up those blushes, but as you see the finished look, it still somehow doesn't look like too much. And I'm excited for like future times that I sit down here and do my makeup, I can just pick one, and I really think that, you know, these could all 3 stand on their own. They're all intense enough to just be their own blush without any need for layering. Again, the highlight and bronzer, I really like that as well. And the Radiant Light finishing powder, like used as an all-over face setting powder and then used as a finishing powder at the tail end, like it looks so good. So yay, I'm glad I like it. Certainly spent some money on it. So thank you all for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you again very soon. I love you. Bye.